Yeah, that's a helicopter flying overhead. How was your weekend? Hope it was good. Mine was okay. Kind of feeling like some things are dying off and you really don't want them to go. Yeah, I can relate. But that's alright. It's all part of the journey. And right now, the veil between the two worlds getting thinner by the day. But that's why we're here, isn't it? To kind of figure out what messages we need to be looking for, what actions we need to be taking, and what can we get, how can we deal with this? I mean, look, right now things are not pleasant. They're not. It's easy to stay strong in your faith when things are pleasant. Right now, all of that, every bit, is being tested. And you need to be tested from time to time so you can level up. You don't go through video games playing those, not encountering boss battles and getting your, getting better, you know, weapons or puzzle solving abilities. You don't do that. You have to level up. So that's what we're looking for. What do we need today that will level us up? And just to give some of you a little heads up, tomorrow is looking a little weird because I was asked last night to swap shifts with someone with whom I work, and naturally I did it. It is an early shift, super early. So, tomorrow's reading, I'm going to try to get that. It'll probably be released on a couple of platforms, and then later in the day I'll have to release them to the rest. So just bear that in mind. Also, speaking of platforms, across every platform, the last count I did, which was last night, we almost broke 200 views. Thanks to you. With Clouthub just clinching the hell out of it. BitChute did pretty well. Rumble was next in line with, I think, 9. So you had like 118 on Clouthub. We had 60 something on BitChute, 9 on Rumble, and then like a handful on YouTube and 1 on Odyssey. Not bad, not bad. Thank you. Thank you for spreading the word about this. So anyway, let's get right down to it. What are we looking at today? What do we need to know today that will help us? What warnings are we looking for? What are we looking at today that will guide us and help us through to a day like today? It's a Monday. Some of you are working. I'm going to be working on some stuff too, so just not at my job. My job I will handle as it comes. We got a little bit of good news, which we've all kind of been waiting for, and can't wait. Alright, so I'm also going to warn you, next week's schedule is looking a little weird as well, so just bear in mind, anything can happen, and if you suddenly see I don't have a video one day, it's just because, you know, got to take care of work. That's all. Okay? I don't know if I'll make it up, but, you know, I'll try. Anyway, significator card, the 9 worlds. Everything is connected. Why am I beating this card? Because the last time this card came up, got me into a little spot of trouble, got some people offended. I don't care. Okay? This card tells you the fate of one will ultimately affect the fate of many. Yes, I am aware that the Q crowd uses this phrase, and I'm going to use it here because I do not recall the Q crowd owning a copyright or a trademark or any of that on these words in the English language, and they are as follows. Where we go one, we go all. That is what that card represents. That's a very succinct, short version of the fate of one will ultimately affect the fate of the many. It is the same thing. No one owns those words, so I will use them. There. Now with that out of the way, the thing that you have to remember right now, an old Libra motto, no one is an island. Let me tell you a little story. A little story of a man named Jim. Jim had suffered a rather traumatic head injury when he was younger. It affected part of his brain, and every doctor and scientist said, well, he's going to be learning disabled. He will have many problems learning. We'd be amazed if he even was able to read. Jim got into Dungeons and Dragons and comic books as a means of escapism, a means of getting away from all that was really just bringing him down. And it was his own condition that was bringing him down. Jim found some real solace in Spider-Man. A man who had been bitten by a radioactive spider, and now he had superhuman abilities. Now he wasn't just this shy little quirky teenager, who was the nerd at school. Now he was, he was out there, he was saving people's lives. And he wondered, how can I remove my own limits? Because Peter Parker always seemed so sure of himself. It was one day that Jim was in a restaurant with his family, and they had sat down to have dinner, and this was kind of a big event, big family. And what would happen but the waitress would come up and she took their order. No notepad, nothing. Jim obviously eyed this with some skepticism. He wondered, why did she not write down the order? But she didn't write down the order. She came back with all the drinks, and everybody got what they wanted. Exactly. No one was swapping drinks between each other. When she came back with the food, no one was swapping plates. That impressed Jim so much, and she probably doesn't even know, this waitress probably doesn't even know, but it started Jim to seeing that anything was possible. And now Jim Quick wrote a book called Limitless, which I've talked about on this channel a few times. I'm still listening to it. Jim has gone from learning disabled to being able to teach others how to speed read, how to comprehend it, how to internalize and store it, how to remember more, how to up their scores on IQ tests, the works. Little do you know what some of your actions will do to either inspire another person or cause that person to just give up. The question is, which one are you going to do? Remember, sometimes just because you take offense doesn't mean that you're right. So, moving on to the guide. Here we are again, Begvasir. Which direction are you pointing people toward? Are you pointing people toward their true north? I would hope so. You know, I've got a little something here in this book I'm going to be reading about this very thing. Not even kidding you. I already marked the page. In fact, I'm going to set that right there. Page is already marked. I'll come back to that later. Spirit animal. Here we go. That card popped up again, and you watched me shuffle these. Right now, you need to act as if what you do will affect everyone around you. You need to act as if the things you say, the things you do, the things you think will affect everyone around you, because they ultimately will. You need to be able to read the room a little bit too. You need to be able to pay attention to the body language of other people. You cannot be oblivious today. Today is super important. Let's go with the tarot. See what we got. We've got the moon. We've got the star. And we got a 5 of wands. October is a particularly scary time. It is the season for scary movies, trick-or-treating. We kind of reserve this as like a bit of a horror month, and we have the wolves out everywhere. The darkness is descending. The days are getting shorter. The nights are getting longer, and they will continue to get longer. Also, we have the star. Star is a great card. I mean, these are two cards right here that tell you everything that you need to know about today. It's time to get over those. Time to get over all those, fears and anxieties and things like that. But you do have to trust your instincts. Your instincts are going to cause you to become inspired, and that's okay. It's a good thing to emerge, people. It's fine. When it comes to that 5 of wands, it looks like you're going to be fighting. But the question is, what are you fighting for? There will be some struggle, I'm not going to lie. As you can see, Bub is struggling with this being in his little box. It's okay. It's okay. Come on. Cut it out. So right here, don't worry, your ideas are good, but you may have to fight a little for them. You may have to justify them. You may have to set some very solid ground for those ideas to work. Can't just go off half-cocked or half. Let me ask you something. If a pie or a cake is only half-baked, is it any good? No. So don't half-bake it. Remember, what you're putting out there, what this is in your head right now, gotta trust your instincts. They do lead to this. Basically, let me show you what I'm seeing here. You got the moon. This is where you have to trust your instincts because things are not clear. You are going to have to put up a bit of a fight. This does not necessarily mean you're fighting with others. It could also mean you're fighting with yourself, fighting with your doubt, fighting with your fear. Fighting with your fear, fighting with your own instincts. This is where it goes when things go immensely right. So, just remember that. For our oracle cards here, we picked the Starseed Oracle. For the tarot, I've got the Radiant Rider-Waite Portal. It says doors are opening. You decide. Rewards. It's a wild card, ladies and gentlemen. You get to make the decision today. And this, right here, today is about growth. Let me tell you something. Growth. Soul growth, physical growth, mental, spiritual. Growth is painful. Change is painful. But nothing in the world is more painful than staying where you are, especially when you're not meant to be there. And finally, here you go. Forge, don't follow. So you have to pave paths. You're probably going to pave paths where others haven't. And let me tell you something about paving new paths. Sometimes when you pave a new path, it becomes a threat to someone else, for whatever reason. When you pave that new path, or you're the first one through the wall, look at the movie Moneyball. The first one through the wall always gets bloody. Sinking in? Yeah. Alright, to the runes. We have Uruz. This is your strength. That's the horns of the ox. We have Iwaz again. This is where some things have to die off. Plain and simple. Some of your misconceptions, some of your preconceived notions. I do see that a lot because it's right there in that growth. You have the strength to do it. You are able to handle it, but you need to be able to understand sometimes removal of your own limits is painful. But again, it's even more painful to stay limited. And then we have none other than Nothies. Capping it off with Nothies, this is where, put simply, breaking free of your own obsessions is a huge must. Like I said, which is more painful to you? Staying right where you are, where things are comfortable, where things are passing you by? Or are you willing to separate what you need from what you thought you needed? So, I mean, I know you can't see me, but I'm sitting here kind of laughing. Because I think this chapter that I'm about to read that I found this morning, before I even pulled the decks for today, is going to ring very, very true. And so, I think this serves as a great summary. The Song of the Ancient Seeds. See, the ancients knew much more about our connection with the stars than we do. Their pyramids, temples, and other places of worship created in precise alignment with the stars exist in all corners of the world. Trust what has been seated within the ancient earth. Hear the song of the ancestors, past and future, calling you to pave the way for a new humanity. Step into your ancient knowledge. Be held by the rememberings of your ancestors. Listen with your ancient heart and soul. Think with a part of you that remembers and knows. All ancient secrets are whispered forever in your ears. All mystic knowing blooms in your heart. All potent power pumps through your veins. The trees know, the rocks remember, the water holds, the soil has secrets to share. The earth is made of ancient stars and your body is made of them too. This global situation we're in can feel hopeless and helpless. Wishful thinking is not the answer. Love and light alone are not the answer. Love and light can't be seated and embodied without first acknowledging what has been severed, what has been disconnected. Healing isn't possible without first acknowledging all of this. Total incarnation is not possible without this. Now is the time for creative action. Surrender. Instead of surrendering to the way things are, we must take guided, grounded action in order to bring about change. We must dig deep to find another way toward each other. We're the dreamers we're wishing for, but dreaming alone won't work. We're the leaders we've longed for, but leading alone won't work. We need to remember the laws of the earth, of the physical, by acting on the dreams in order to bring them into being, to reweave together the broken threads. May we all trust the seeds of the dreams that we have been planted within us. May we all act on the seeds of the dreams with grounded action. May we all plant our dreams for a healed humanity. May we all act on them each and every day. Reach out to each other, be practical, be daring, be open to being rewoven. Can't sum it up any better than that. The actions you take, the words you speak, the very grounded things you do will inspire someone else. The thoughtless words you speak, the thoughtless actions you take, the rather mindless things you think will tear someone else down. And that serves no one. Not even yourself. For a Monday, it was a rather brutal reading, wasn't it? Didn't tell us what we wanted to hear today, did it? Told us what we needed. It's good advice. It is. It's very, very good advice. I'd like to leave you with a little something. If I can find my phone here. Well, there we go. Just throw it on the floor, Wolfgar. It's all good. Jeez. Wow. Okay. So, it is... Oh, there it is. I was like, where's my app? Here we go. And see, people, this is the reason I say don't go all in on digital. Because a book like this, I don't think I could find something as easily as I could with like an electronic device. But I wanted to read this. This is from Dr. Jackson Crawford's translation of the Havamal into Western dialect, which he called the Cowboy Havamal. And this is verses 54 and 55. Don't get too goddamn smart now. There's a measure for everything. And don't think it's for nothing that the stupid people tend to be the happier ones too. And don't get too goddamn smart now. There's a measure for everything. You'll know you're gone too far when you can't find a thing to smile about. That's what wisdom's like. Don't get too goddamn smart now. There's a measure for everything. And if you think you can learn the future, you're a damn fool, not a wise man. You'll be happier not knowing anyway. How about one more, just as a bonus? Will you grant me one more? One more. You won't learn a thing if you never talk to folks. And nobody will learn anything from you if you keep your thoughts to yourself. You'll never turn the lead in your head into gold. I think that about does it. Anyway, I'm going to go on because at some point today I'm going to have to do tomorrow's reading. Again, like I said, it will probably show up on YouTube and Rumble first. And it'll probably show up on BitChute, Clouthub, and the rest later on. By the way, I'm also on Minds now. Link in the description below. I hope I remember to put it in there. Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, get out there today. Do that superhuman thing that you know you can do. Take on those difficult tasks, stare them in the eye, and remember, sometimes you don't have to defeat the enemy, you just have to outlast them. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope something from here resonated with you. You may not be able to do what lights you up today. Just be in your truth. Stand strong in it. And as always, shine on.